Hello guys! Welcome everyone back to an episode of Mando Monday. This is the series where you guys ask the questions and I, of course, answer them. And that could be to do with anything related to Counter-Strike 2, Valve, future upcoming updates such as CS2's first operation, future update to the armory, or maybe it's new returning maps, modes, weapons, or features. If you guys have a question you want a shot at being answered in next week's video, leave it down below this comment section or any of my many weekly community posts that I typically put out right before Mando Monday goes out. Now this week's episode of Mando Monday, I'm glad to be back. We're going to break down a large variety of topics such as CS2's most recent update just a week later, Valve buying agency and keeping it long term, possible bordered stickers for the Austin Major, the current market situation with skins, alongside a bunch more. I would like to give a huge thank you to Skins Monkey for sponsoring today's video. Skins Monkey is a buying and trading marketplace where you can replace your old skins for something shiny. To start a trade, it's as simple as to click the skins you no longer want and grab the new skins you want to obtain. If you need to top up your balance, you can use my code MANDO for an additional 35% deposit bonus, as well as you can also get up to a free $5. With Skins Monkey's large variety of skins, they also offer daily, weekly, and monthly giveaways. Be sure to check them out in the top link in the description down below. Firstly, for today's video, I want to hop right into the meat and potatoes, that being with the first question. Up first here is from Lord of the Potato, and he says, with the new community map update, do you think agency will stay as a permanent map, or will it be considered as a community map with a limited time of 6 months or so? I like it. And well, brother, I think it feels like everyone likes agency and it's absolutely amazing. But my question is this just the honeymoon stage or is there more to it? And my quick answer to that is I think it's a little bit of both. You see, a major problem we've had with CS2 since launch is there hasn't been a whole lot of community maps or original maps added to the game, let alone maps that were in CSGO that were pretty beloved by a lot of players. But with this most recent update, I gotta say Valve kind of delivered. Same with all the creators for these maps. This has got to be one of the first updates I've ever seen in Counter-Strike's history. Maybe it's because we've been deprived for content for so long, but usually in community map updates like we just got in the past for Counter-Strike's history, how it normally goes, people don't really play any of the new maps. Maybe they play one or two, but even with Wingman this time around, everyone's playing everything and it's absolutely amazing. These are not only some of the best looking maps we've ever gotten, but also some of the best feeling and just playing maps overall. But as it stands for your question, do I think agency will stay as a permanent map? I think there's probably a pretty good chance of it. I mean, it's the first map we've gotten in CS2 that was made from the community, that was in CSGO, that was, well, it did stay long term in the game. But correct me if I'm wrong, but typically how the process goes of Valve buying a map and adding it to the game, even though it's already been bought and added to the game, like in this most recent update, near the end of this update's life cycle, when Valve gets ready to remove all of these maps, they're then most likely going to ask the creator if they want it to stay in the game permanently, maybe make some sort of transaction behind the scenes. And that in CS's history could sometimes take up to 6 months. So it could get removed in the next update where everything is removed and then eventually added sometime in the future. But that's just my best guess. That's just my opinion. But it also depends on how many people play it in the matter of 3 or 4 months. And I don't see that going away anytime soon. Back in CSGO, agency had a pretty small community because there were a lot of great maps in CSGO that a lot of people could play at any point in time. Not to mention you could only play it on matchmaking, so that kind of sucked. Same goes here, but I feel like the circumstances are a little bit different. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys like the new port of agency? Would you like to see it stay in the game? And how do you guys feel about this most recent update? Our second question up here is from the Provable regarding Classic Offensive. This guy says, with Classic Offensive being shut down, do you think Valve has a big update coming to CS2 that they didn't want Classic Offensive taking the spotlight away from? It's a great question, brother. And right off the bat, I'm going to be honest with you, we don't know. But there are a lot of things to discuss around this. There are currently a lot of moving parts. To answer your question, no, I don't really think Valve is cooking anything. I think Valve is just being Valve. Now, if we base this off of Valve's recent history and long history with Counter-Strike, recently they haven't loved a whole lot of mods regarding CS. But if you go back 25 years or so, Counter-Strike started off as a mod from Half-Life, which they made it into their own game and released several other titles later on. So to say they don't like mods is pretty stupid, and to say they like the community is pretty dumb as well. But is it really that dumb? Because on one hand of things, Valve loves the community. They're the people who make them a bunch of money with skins, cases, any type of cosmetic, not to mention they also fill their game with content. Back in CSGO, if Valve released an operation, yeah, there'd be some original maps, original modes, original things that they would do, but the majority of it, including the battle passes at times, were all things made from the community, including all the community maps that were added to the game. And you see here in CS2, that's practically all we've gotten. As of recently, the only thing original we've gotten from Valve is the new weekly missions they've added to the game, which isn't really new, and all the maps they made for CS2 are just things from CSGO, pretty much just shards of the past. And I guess for people who need some context about Classic Offensive and mods regarding Counter-Strike 2, long story short, the Classic Offensive devs, that being Zool, the creator anyway, he's been working on it since 2015. He's released a whole timeline of what happened and what's happened over the last 10 years. Essentially, when he started the mod for CSGO in 2015, he was greenlit by Steam to make the mod and release it on Steam eventually. As they came close to 2025, Valve kind of completely stopped talking to him. And I'm assuming after a lot of community backlash and a lot of community hate towards the devs, that being at Valve, not Classic Offensive, they finally responded saying, saying, hey, you got to change a few things and you can release your game. But as things continued and as they were closer and closer to launch, we didn't hear anything from Valve, but we also didn't hear anything from Classic Offensive. So most people thought they were just working more on the game. And then what happened is, well, Valve kind of came out with a cease and desist and said, hey, you can't release this. You got to stop everything you're doing with this game. And that's final. So if you're wondering why there was maybe a lot of community backlash towards this most recent update for CS2 from Valve, this could be a big reason why a lot of people were essentially boycotting it. And no, I don't really think Valve was making their own mode or doing anything original like Classic Offensive would for CS2. I just don't see that happening. The closest thing we got to Classic Offensive or something close to that in CSGO was for the 20th anniversary for I believe a week or so that they changed the map, that being Dust 2 in CSGO, to be like the 1.6 version. That's it, nothing more, nothing less. Now my theory that I have in my head, Valve did this because they're scared, but also because they can. But just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. I think with the current state of CS2, especially before this most recent update, and even right now, the devs are scared of a mod, let's just say Classic Offensive, is going to be taking more players over to that thing than they are playing CS2, which will then in theory hurt the player count for CS2, cause CS2 to drop, stop cases being unboxed, so on and so forth. But I don't really think that would be to that extent. And I mean, Zool even stated that they weren't using any leaked source code, anything illegal, because they had learned that from the TF2 modding situation. Let me know what you guys think about the situation down below. There is some quick news regarding CS Legacy, which is another game regarding Counter-Strike. It's not a mod like Classic Offensive. The CS Legacy devs have just recently stated that they're going to continue working on their game until it's ready for release, which is great, but it also makes me think if Valve is going to back down and say, hey, you can't release that. Our next question up here is regarding Austin Major stickers, and he says, Austin Major stickers, bordered or borderless? Now for the answer you guys want, it's probably going to be bordered, but from my honest answer is that they're probably going to add borderless stickers again like they have the last 5 years. And the reason for that is because, well, everyone buys them. Nothing is going to change because Valve wants your wallets. And speaking of stickers, I do want to kind of go down an interesting path here regarding the fact that the last 3 majors within Counter-Strike, their sticker sales have lasted longer than the one prior. And for most people, it doesn't even phase the player base anymore, which is kind of crazy. Now, remember when we thought the Paris stickers were on the shop a little too long? Well, now we had the Shanghai stickers. They just left in the end of April, and the major started in November when stickers were added, or technically started in December, but they were added late November after Train released. But that part of stickers, the rarity aspect of things, making them feel very special. I'm not even talking about a design change. I'm talking about them just staying on the shop forever. The rarity aspect of stickers for majors is completely and 100% gone. I mean, even if you did get a new design, these are going to be available every single year for eternity. Like I just mentioned, the rare aspect of things is going to be gone, which a lot of people kind of go after when they want to create sticker crafts, collect stickers, so on and so forth. With the major coming up at the end of June, we should be seeing an update regarding the major within the next few weeks. We're going to get new souvenir packages, capsules, and you guys get the rest. But I don't really think anything's really going to change regarding stickers because people buy them, Valve makes a fat profit, and so do the teams. But I also think there's a major fatigue with seeing the same teams pretty much had the same logo like Navi since 2014. It's like, why would you buy a Cato 14 Navi sticker when you can just buy the Austin Major sticker that's Navi for literally pennies in the thousands of dollars that you're going to be spending? It just doesn't make any sense. Not to mention investing for stickers is completely dead. Now, I do think a lot of this was hurting because of how many people were doing it, but nowadays it's mainly just because of how long they're available on the shop for. And everyone and their mom's dog buys everything and anything they can at any given time. I personally want to see a comeback of DreamHack 2014 stickers, at least that design, that area of design. I think that would really change things up. In fact, I also think they would really sell well. I think Valve needs to completely go away from the borderless stickers at least for the next 5 to 10 years and just make them look special again. You don't have to remove them on time because we all know that's not going to happen. But yeah, that's all I have to say about it. What do you guys think about the current situation down below? Our next question up here is regarding the CS2 economy. He says thoughts on the CS2 economy right now. So as most of you have seen, the market cap I think went up to $5 billion just a couple weeks ago, and then it fell right back down to 4. And it went from 4 to 5 billion in just a matter of a few weeks, which was pretty crazy. If you were to go to a website like Price Empire, for an example, which is great, I suggest you go check it out, you could have seen all of these prices in the green like you've never seen them before. Now, if you thought these prices were high just a few years ago, they just reached newer all-time highs, and they blew everything else out of the water. Because if I was a betting man not looking at any really hard data, I would assume a lot of these skins had a higher price, higher spike than we saw during the limited test for CS2. And that's just showing you guys and telling you how crazy it was. But that's not to say everything was legitimate. I think there was a lot of things that took place, such as manipulation, bots, players doing sketchy things. And for the people and players who didn't sell when the profits were as high as they were, I gotta say it's kind of a shame, but it's also a big lesson. For those who didn't profit in this situation, or let's just say bought the high and didn't buy the dip, next time just just take the profit and move forward with life. We waited months for a time like this, some made it for years, and a lot of people just pissed it all away. But don't feel too bad, I feel like everyone, including myself at some point in time for Counter-Strike's history regarding the market, regarding skins, has made the mistake of holding on to things, so just take that and move forward with life. Now, a lot of the things that were peaking were higher tier items, and if you thought things were not becoming affordable, let's just say with Doppler knives, certain gloves, or even agents, these were slowly not even becoming affordable as lower tier items anymore, which is somewhat of a problem regarding Counter-Strike that I maybe might want to make a commentary on later this week. Now, let me know what you guys think down below. What do you guys think happened in that current situation? Why do you think so? And do you think we'll ever see something like this ever again? Now, our next question up here is from Jacket, and he says, with the potential removal of operations altogether, sorry for the voice crack, do you think we'll see co-op missions in any form anytime soon? Now, according to data miners like Gabe Follower, data mine suggests that the game could see them sometime in the future, but in my opinion, the only way we are going to see them inside the game where you can play them is going to be regarding the weekly missions and nothing else. Maybe they could add something towards the future regarding the armory pass where you could play for stars, let's just say. Maybe some missions will give you more XP than the other, or have, let's just say, a paid set of weekly missions, but it's only for the armory. I'm going to be honest with you, I know a lot of people don't want to hear this, but I want to keep it real. I've said this since the armory came out, but operations, at least the way we saw them back in CSGO when they were beloved by most of the community, those are gone for good. Valve hasn't said it, but this is the way I'm receiving it. It's time for the old to go out, and it's time for them to make a way forward with the new. That being operations are old, the armory is new, and whatever they else add in the future is obviously new, that is going to somehow replace operations. I mean, at this point in time, we've gotten everything for an operation aside from new modes, features, and also some new content. And I also can't believe I'm saying this, but I actually think I might like this system more than what we had with operations. Not a hater of your question, not a hater of operations. This is just how I feel about the situation and see things. Because with operations, whenever we got them, we never knew how long they were going to last, but also when the next one was going to be arriving after that. I mean, Operation Wildfire in 2017, my friends and I, during that summer, Black Ops 3 Chronicles for Zombies came out. I was also playing Counter-Strike, was loving Operation Wildfire, and I was just loving life, and I thought the next operation would be even better. But little did we know the next operation didn't come out until November or October, sometime that year in 2019. And then obviously we got Riptide at the end of 2021, and that's all she wrote. There was nothing more, nothing less. And to this day, we have still not seen an operation. But in this system that Valve has with the armory, at least we always have skins that people can play for, grind for, use their stars for. And for whatever reason, 6 months later, or a little more than that actually, these skins are actually still pretty affordable. Now, what does make me excited for the future is that in this most recent update where Valve added weekly missions, it was seen in the game files that there are different maps, specifically Ancient. It has a night version that you can play, at least that Valve is working on. Now, I really hope they don't add this to competitive or just normal matchmaking, because a lot of different games have tried this in the past, but I guess Valve is Valve and they always kind of do it better than everyone else, at least most of the time. But I'm thinking Ancient Night could be some sort of game mode regarding a new mode for CS2 that maybe have to play for weekly missions, and maybe that could somehow be connected to the armory. Yeah, I just want co-op missions, because we didn't even get them back in Operation Riptide in 2021 because they didn't exist. Co-op missions were non-existent for Riptide. The last time we saw them was Shattered Web and Broken Fang. That's taking us back to 2020, so it's officially been a little over 5 years now since we've seen them, which kind of sucks. But what I will say is this: Valve has surprised a lot of the community with their updates that they've put out every once in a while, and I think the community has officially done their job by making all their content for the game. Now it's Valve's turn with the co-op missions. Sorry for the little bit of a ramble. Let me know what you guys think down below. Now, with that being said, that pretty much concludes today's episode of Mando Monday. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Stay positive, sexy. Thank you guys for watching. I'm out, guys. Peace.